All right, we are here with Debbie Antonelli, famed ESPN broadcaster and all-around basketball legend. How are you, Debbie?
Audrey, thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm excited to be here with you tonight.
It is such an honor to be able to have you. So kind of set the scene. Where are you headed? I know you're headed to a hoops game. I think you just told me.
Yeah, I'm always on the move. I'm home tonight on my way down to the College of Charleston to watch the College of Charleston men play. They can clinch the title in the regular season tonight. Pat Kelsey, the head coach, is a friend of mine, so I'm going to check it out.
So much fun. So you're not broadcasting tonight. You're just a fan.
I'm going as a fan. I'm going to have a good time. I've got a lot of friends that attend the games at the college, and they're usually sold out, and it's a great environment.
So much fun. So tell me about this time of year for you and your responsibilities, because we're almost in March right now. This is your high season. I mean, basketball season number 1, that's your high season, right? But talk a little bit about March from your perspective.
Well, this is the best time of year for sure. Everybody calls it March Madness because it is for the fans. But honestly, the madness for me is mainly January and February because I'm going from site to site, doing one game here, one game there, bouncing between the men and the women. When we get to March, I'll get to one place for a week, and then I'll do women's games. Then I'll go to another place, and I'll work for CBS on the men's tournament, and I'll be there for a week. And then I'll go to the women's regional, and I'll be there for almost a week. And then I'll head straight to Cleveland. And all of a sudden, here we are, the end of March into April, and, the season will be over. So it happens fast for me, and it's enjoyable. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I really love it.
So what's the best Final Four that you've ever been a part of?
Oh, gosh, I think, I have called the Final Four for Westwood One Radio for this is my 28th year, I believe.
Okay.
So I've been doing it for a long time, and I've seen a lot of great games, a lot of great teams. I think there's multiple Final Fours. I have to say 2008 when Tennessee won. It was Pat Summitt's last championship. Candace Parker, was in her final year at Tennessee and won back-to-back. The run that UConn had where they won 4 in a row with Breonna Stewart, that was pretty much a foregone conclusion. South Carolina, because I live in the state, I've watched what Dawn Staley's been able to build. So their first championship meant a lot to me because I was around the early days and at South Carolina when Dawn first got the job and actually had a hand in helping her get the job. So I'm really thinking about all those, but also my coach in '98 in Kansas City, NC State went to the Final Four, and that was a really great moment for my coach, Kay Yao, so I like that one as well.
So what's your game prep like for the Final Four? Because it's such a quick turnaround. I worked the Final Four a couple of years ago, so I know the pace of it, but can you kind of give the listeners a little bit of a taste of your experience there?
Well, I'll tell you, it's more than just the games for me. There's a lot of activity around the games that I'm involved in, and I'll just give you kind of a little snapshot of this year in Cleveland. I will arrive on Tuesday. On Wednesday morning, I'm the keynote speaker at We Coach, which is a nonprofit organization encouraging women to coach.
Okay.
I'll host and MC the Naismith Awards that we'll do, and then Thursday, that's Wednesday. Then Thursday, I MC the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame breakfast with a keynote speaker. We have an event early Thursday morning, and then I'll be in the gym for media interviews all day on Thursday. Then Friday, we have 2 games. I sometimes go to practice, but usually because I've seen the teams already, I sometimes don't do that. But practice is an option in the morning, just like regular game day for me. And then Saturday, back in the gym for media interviews, and then the championship on Sunday. This championship now is early. It's at 3 o'clock on ABC, so we will be able to get out of Cleveland that night.
Is there a reason that shifted?
I think it's because we were able to put the championship on ABC, so that made it a 3 o'clock window, which is a really good ratings window for the championship. So hopefully we will draw the 10 million rating that we drew last year, which would be great. Hopefully it's more than that.
What's your favorite part of that whole weekend for you?
Well, the games are always the most important thing for me, Audrey. I love the games. I love the prep that comes with it, the film, the study, the shoot around, the film. Mainly, I love to watch film. So for me, it's the excitement of the game, and keeping the product as the narrative is always important. But I also love at the Final Four meeting new coaches, hanging out with my old buddies that are coaches, a lot of networking opportunities, just kind of hanging out. I mean, I enjoy that part of it. So it gives me a chance to meet some young coaches that maybe I haven't met, so that one day I can help them when they're ready to get a bigger job or their first job.
So you were in marketing at Ohio State. How does that influence your TV experiences? Because it's all media at the end of the day, whether it's marketing, hey, come to a game and it's on the computer and people are getting it through a computer, or they're watching the TV and they're seeing you broadcast. How did that help you transition into TV?
Well, first I need to tell you that I've been on the air for 36 years, and my first games were in 1988 at the University of Kentucky. I was the first director of marketing there. Women's basketball was a part of my responsibilities as the director of marketing, and then I took the Ohio State job. When I was at Kentucky in 1988, we had a local cable company that came to us and said, we think we can produce sport, but we're not sure. And so we said, well, why don't you try a women's game? I was 23, and my boss at the time said, would you like to do the game? And I had never thought about broadcasting at that point in my life because there weren't any games on. The only game on the women's side was the national championship on CBS. So I never saw really anybody doing it except for Mimi Griffin, who was the analyst on the CBS games. So I did that game, and then it turned into a package that we were able to cultivate. And then I left Kentucky and went to Ohio State. And when I got to the Ohio State University, as we like to say, I went to the local cable company and said, can you produce sport? We want to put a package together on the women's side. Out in some advertising. Put the games on, pay for the games, pay for the syndication, and then I could do the games. That's how I was able to stay in broadcasting, thankfully, because otherwise my path was tracking to be an athletic director, and I'm glad that I was able to stay in basketball. That was my true love.
So, when you're on TV, do you have any funny, mishaps that happen that you can share?
Oh, gosh. I mean, sure. I mean, I could give you a whole comedy of errors that have happened to me, and a lot of it has to do with travel. I have traveled all night through a snowstorm, following a snowplow down the Interstate 95 just to get to the next game. I've left my car running in the parking lot for a doubleheader for 9 hours, and thankfully I had enough gas when I came out. I've locked the keys in the car with the snow. I've been hit in the head with a ball during a live shot in the back of the head. I've had the cheerleaders run past us while we're doing a live hit with the flag wrapped around me and then unraveled, and I just kept talking. I've had lots of interesting things like that. I have some of my best athleticism now is in the airport. I'm usually running, and it's a 36-year journey of incredible opportunity and fun, and I'm grateful, blessed.
So, do you have a favorite arena in the NCAA at all, or do you like them all?
Well, I mean, I grew up on the Triangle teams in Tobacco Road, so Duke, Carolina, NC State, those three arenas I love. I love going in them. I love the history of them. I have fond memories of playing in them, and I love broadcasting them in those places. So those three I love. Now Allen Fieldhouse, now that I've experienced calling a men's game at Kansas, I've got to put that on my list now. That was amazing. All of the Caitlin Clark Iowa games this year have been exceptional. I've been to multiple of those games, and those are really exciting because of the energy in the building and how many young boys and girls are carrying signs and wearing your jersey. I think we all are happy about that kind of growth in the game. So those environments are fun to be in. And then when Jackie Stiles was playing at Missouri State, that was definitely by far one of the better arenas with atmosphere to be in. So there's a lot of places. UConn is great. Tennessee's great. There's a lot of places that have been very solid in women's basketball for a long time. And I'm just grateful I've been able to be at some of them.
So tell me about your perspective of the breaking news that just hit a couple hours ago with Caitlin Clark not coming back.
Yeah, I mean, I've called it Clarkonomics since November. She definitely has changed the perception of the game in some ways. To put it in context for me, I played against Cheryl Miller, and I've covered everyone since. So I've been around and, covered the greats in our game. I just think that we've never seen anyone like Caitlin. Part of me is sad because as a college basketball analyst, I'd love to see her stay, but I also believe that, she didn't take this decision lightly. I think the economics is something that she had to look at, and I hope she gets more visibility in the WNBA. I know the Indiana Fever have got to be celebrating like crazy right now.
How important is it for ticket sales for them? It's
going to change the whole thing. It's going to change everything for them. I actually put out a congratulations to Caitlin with a double your ticket selling staff at Indiana because they're going to go crazy. And I think when they hit the road in some places when the schedule comes out, I believe that those tickets will sell as well. I think she's become very iconic in a short time. And I can't wait to see how she measures up against some of the great players in the world. So that's what you get in the WNBA.
So tell me about her, just the experience seeing her play. I heard she has security detail, apparently.
Oh yeah, she's had security, but Iowa has traveled with security all year. They've traveled a little bit more security. They've had to travel with more sports information staff. Caitlin has really changed the economics of a lot of things for the good, for the good of the game. I think, she is so fascinating. She's 5'11" and about 150 pounds. Probably 75% of the people that play basketball, 75 or 80% are that size. So she doesn't have this exceptional height or length or speed. She's very athletic, so don't get me wrong, but I've not seen anybody that can go full speed across midcourt, shift sides of the floor, and shoot that incredible logo step back three. We just have never had anybody do that, and it's really amazing to watch, and you just don't know what she's going to do next.
How important is recovery for people like her who play in the Final Four, in March Madness in general, back to back?
I think recovery is always important. I think right now at this time of the season, most coaches are looking for rest versus reps and staying off your feet. I know very much Iowa takes really good care of making sure that Caitlin doesn't overdo it in the not outside of the 40 minutes of playing, because she is a late night gym rat that likes to go in the gym late and shoot. I think like most players, they know their bodies. They know how to take care of their bodies. And the wonderful thing about college athletics is they can get a massage twice a week. They can take a dip in the ice bath. They can sit in the sauna. They can sit in a whirlpool. There's a lot of things they can do now because they have incredible resource, which gives them an advantage.
So what's her personality like?
Oh, she's fantastic. She's a wonderful kid. I say kid because that's what she is. And she brings pure joy to everyone around her because she loves the game so much. She plays it at such a high level, and she truly enjoys and captivates every opportunity she has right now to play with that kind of joy. I love being around her. I think she's got this infectious personality, and she says the right things. She is always talking about her team the coaching staff, and then the growth of the game. Anytime there's a mic in her face, but the distinguishing qualities about her are so positive and so much joy to be around. We've been really lucky in college sports to be able to have her as long as we had her, and she's going to do really well in the WNBA.
Are there any sleeper teams people should be aware of for March Madness for the women?
Well, I think there's incredible parity and balance. South Carolina will be everyone's pick in their bracket. You know, and last year they won 36 games in a row and lost in the Final Four.
Yeah.
I know that's not something that they're thinking about this year because they've got depth and they can score at all three levels. They've got two-way guards, which they didn't have last year. And they have an incredible defense. You know, they're always committed to playing really good D. As far as sleeper teams go, I mean, you know, I think teams like Creighton and Drake that have 5 players that can shoot the three, spread it, really share it, move the ball. I think those teams are teams you look at in your bracket when they get seeded in the tournament just because of their experience. Both veteran teams, both have been in the NCAA. But I think I'm anxious to see how the committee handles it because there are a lot of really good teams and it's going to be really tough to seed them.
So we're going to do some rapid fire about your game day. What is your pregame prep like from a snack perspective? What's your favorite pregame snack?
Honey Stinger and a bottle of water.
What's your favorite pregame song on a playlist?
I have no playlist.
What about in an arena? Do you have a favorite song that a band plays?
I love the pep bands, and I don't care what they play. But the more brass in the pep band, the more interested I am.
If you were not broadcasting, what would you be doing right now?
Coaching.
In your mind, what is the hardest part about competing in basketball at the college level?
Fitness.
What's your favorite...
And shot making.
What's your favorite restaurant on the road?
Oh, I don't know. I have to give a shout out to the Wagon Wheel in Lawrence, Kansas, because that's the last place I was.
Okay, so you have been in women's basketball for a really long time. How do you feel about the growth of women's sports right now? You must be so ecstatic.
I am. The first 50 years of Title IX was about opportunity, and I am banking on the next 50 being about investment. And players like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are helping us get there.
So, where do you hope women's basketball is in the next 5 years?
I hope there are incredible ratings, incredible following, and full arenas so that when we sell inventory, it creates money so that the game can get units for participating in the NCAA tournament. I don't want a gift. I want to earn it through investment.
So what's the hardest part about the Final Four from the terms of the turnaround time? Because you broadcast 2 games Friday, you have a break Saturday, and then you have all day Sunday.
There's no trouble for me. I'm always excited and ready to call the next game. So I don't have any lag. I'm not tired. I'm just staying hydrated.
Do you get a lot of time? Do you get to go back to the hotel to take time for yourself, or is it go, go, go from your perspective of the Final Four?
It's pretty much hair on fire, go, 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 and try to maximize my time with the people I want to be around.
Who are you most excited to see in the selection show?
I want to see where Iowa goes. I'm interested in that. And I'm interested in how the committee is going to handle UConn, whether they'll keep them in Albany or send them west. And I can't wait to see who the number 1 seeds. In the beginning of the year in November, I thought Ohio State would have a chance, and I think they have a real legitimate chance.
Tell me about your amazing family and what they mean to you.
My husband and I have been married for almost 32 years. We have 3 boys. Joey works in Division III athletics at a place called Wittenberg.
Okay.
He's working in athletic facilities. My son Frankie is my son that has Down syndrome, who is a Clemson Life graduate. Clemson has a program called Life, Learning is for Everyone. It is a post-secondary educational experience for those with intellectual disability that want to go to college. It is a life skills program, and he graduated from Clemson, and he's working and living independently with support, and it's quite amazing. It's an act of God for sure. And then my youngest is a Division II point guard at a school called Emory and Henry in Virginia.
That's fantastic. Speaking of Division II and Division III, how do you see women's sports growing in that arena in your perspective? Because I feel like a lot of times there's such a huge focus on Division I, which isn't bad, but there's also Division II and Division III, which I went to a D3 school, Loris in Iowa. So I have a soft spot for D3 for sure.
I think what I've experienced through my son is that those kids work just as hard, and they play for the pure love of the game. That is what they play for, and I want my son to have a great experience, which he's had. I want him to make friends. I want him to have fun, have a good experience, and be around good people, and that's what he's been able to get. And I think ultimately that's what we all want for kids in college, all of our kids.
So what does your week look like next week to get you ready for the insanity that it is March Madness?
I will be working the ACC women's tournament, and I will be there until it's over, all the way through the finals, and then I will have a little bit of champ week, and then I will wait for CBS to give me my assignment for the NCAA tournament.
So how does that work? Do you just sit by the phone and they call you and say, "Hey, pack your bags. You're going to wherever they're sending you"?
That's almost exactly how it works. The selection show is at 6:00. When the show is over, I wait for my call, and sometimes they call right after the show. Sometimes they've called at midnight. This is my 8th year working the men's tournament. If they call at midnight and I end up in a place where I have 8 teams that I haven't had, and I start on a Thursday, the madness has begun. That's when it's maddening, because that's 8 teams to prepare for, and that's a lot of work to do before you get to Thursday for the games, and that would mean traveling on Tuesday. I'm hoping the best case scenario for me would be they call me at 8, tell me where I'm going. My site's Friday and Sunday, and I can travel on Wednesday.
You must earn a lot of miles, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of travel.
Do you have a favorite airport?
Charleston. I love going to my next gig, but I also love coming home.
Awesome. Debbie, you are absolutely a legend. You've played under Kay Yao. You've had all these amazing experiences, but at the end of the day, Kay Yao has had an influence on you. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I had a 30-year relationship with my coach as a junior high camper, to being recruited, to playing for her, and then having a relationship with her afterwards. She was a teacher at heart. She never yelled at us. She wanted us to treat people like people first and players second. That's the way she approached everything with us, and she expected us to show incredible respect, which we did. I am grateful for my time with her. I'm grateful that she selected me. I look at it like it's, I selected NC State, but she selected me first. And I'm grateful for my experience at NC State with her.
Do you have any teammates or people you've covered that you would like to shout out for influencing you in your career?
Oh my gosh, we'd be here all night if I tried to tell you how many people were on my team. But since you mentioned my high school and college teammates are still my best buds. We still get together and do a lot of things together. One of the things that we love to do is tell the same stories over and over about how we thought we got away with something, or, pulled one over on the coaches, or all the things that we did, the shenanigans we were involved in that we didn't think the coaches knew. And those stories just get better and better over the years.
So speaking of shenanigans, one of the funniest players in all of time is Lindsay Whalen. Talk a little bit about your relationship with Lindsay Whalen.
When Lindsay was a player at Minnesota, I was on the regional finals when Minnesota beat Duke to go to the Final Four. At the time, Lindsay was very much interested in broadcasting, and she was, I would say, she was full of shenanigans. To watch her mature and to become the player and the leader, and to help us win Olympic gold medals, and then to watch her lead a basketball team at Minnesota, and just to be around her and know her is, really, really fun. That's the fun part of what I get to do. I get to watch them come in as 18-year-old freshmen, watch them graduate, and then develop their careers, and watch how things evolve for them. And she's a really nice person. I'm always pulling for her. Plus, she's a good golfer, and I'd like to play golf with her one day.
Oh, yeah, she's so fun. I've had the pleasure of getting to know her a little bit, and she is absolutely a legend. And huge shout out to everybody in the women's basketball community. I think this community is very, very, very special, for sure.
Sure is. There are a lot of great people out there.
Sports are about people at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what the score is. It's more about the people that are involved.
That is 100% true.
Well, thank you so much, Debbie, for coming on. I know you're probably about to go kill it and watch some hoops, which I'm so happy that you get to be a fan for a day. You deserve some relaxation.
Most people take the night off. My night off is in the gym.
You are a gym rat, which I absolutely love. I think the coolest part about your job is you get to see countless games, and I also love the pet bands, so I'm semi-jealous that you get to see all of those.
There's some pretty good ones out there, and the bigger the band, the better the atmosphere.
Have you broadcasted at Northwestern at all?
I haven't had a game there in a long time. I have had a game there, but it's been a while.
So, have you ever experienced a tornado warning in a gym? Or safety, anything? Because the other day, I was a fan at a Northwestern game. I live in Chicago. There was a tornado warning. And they had everybody stay after the game. And I'm like, this is not normal at all. Like, I've worked in athletics here and there, and we've never had to deal with, a tornado warning at all.
Well, I've had a rain out. I've never been a part of a tornado warning. And when you see Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel on your flight going to the same place you're going, you usually know that you're headed for trouble. And that has happened to me before. But I did experience a rain out at Ole Miss where the roof leaked. And the game was out of hand at that point, so they just quit playing.
What, from a safety perspective, on the topic of safety with people like Caitlin Clark, for her to be so poised, do you think it ever gets to her, the whole, attention thing, or being surrounded consistently and having that security detail? Because that's not normal for someone at 22 to have security, Yeah,
I think Caitlin's supports team around her, her teammates, all of that. I think they are, they're exceptional in making sure that there's no issues for her. I think she has time to rest. I think she does take time for herself. I think that's important to get away. And I know she does that. And that's why she's able to manage all the responsibility that she has. And there are a lot of people on her team that are helping her.
It'll be so exciting to see we know where she's headed, but it's going to be exciting to see the growth in the game because of her at this professional level. I know. Yes. I'm going to get some tickets when they come to Chicago. for sure.
Yep, that's what's going to happen when the schedule comes out. I think everybody's going to start buying.
Well, thank you
so great.
Thank you so much for coming on. This was such an absolute honor. We met a few years ago. Do you remember that on the court? It was at the very end of the championship. Yeah, in Minnesota. That was such a fun day.
That was a great championship.
Do you remember the snowstorm at the very end?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I hope we don't have that in Cleveland this year.
That snow, I had to drive back to Iowa. I was living in Iowa at the time, and my dad came with me, and we were driving back, and I went to the media party after for the free food, and he picked me up, and we could not believe the snow. Because if you remember, there was no snow, like, at all like that, prior to the end of the championship. And I walked out, and it was a literal blizzard. I'm like, I did not prepare for this at all.
Yeah. Well, gotta be ready.
Well, thank you so
Audrey,
much.
I appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast. Thank you for staying after me to have a chance to do it, and I wish you well.
I wish you well, too. And ladies and gentlemen, you can catch Debbie Antonelli all March Madness and Final Four long. She is the absolute greatest, and I'm so honored to have had an interview with you. You have no idea. Like, this is amazing.
Well, thank you, Audrey. You're so kind. I wish you well, and I hope our paths cross again.
Well, we will keep in touch, that's for sure, because, again, sports is about people, so...